I'm on the road to High Point, North Carolina, not only to see beautiful blooms, traverse beloved boardwalks, and pass through terrific tunnels, but also to see the world's largest chest of drawers. In High Point, North Carolina, you'll find an 85-foot tall, massive high-boy dresser at the entrance of a store called Furnitureland South, the largest retail furniture store in the United States. Now, there's reportedly another giant chest of drawers in High Point that apparently dates all the way back to 1926. I didn't see that one, but this dresser is larger and features incredible details that make it a popular roadside attraction. That's the biggest set of drawers I've ever seen. We're going to get to the bountiful boardwalks of the High Point Greenway soon enough, so stay tuned for that. But first, why is there a giant chest of drawers in High Point? Because this town is obsessed with furniture. This is High Point, the only city in North Carolina that extends into 4 counties. High Point was at the highest point of the 1856 North Carolina Railroad between Charlotte and Goldsboro. By the way, trains still pass through the center of town every day. High Point was settled by Europeans, including English Quakers and German immigrants, before 1750, but was not incorporated until 1859. Early on, the most important industries were tobacco, woodworking, and textiles. But the High Point Furniture Factory opened in 1889 and changed everything. More about that in a moment. 116,926 Tar Heels call High Point home, and she covers 58.43 square miles. She's got a slew of nicknames, including North Carolina's International City, City of the Future, HP, Hype Point, The Pocket, The Point, and Home Furnishings and Hosiery Capital of the World. Hosiery, you say? Haven't heard that word in a while.
When you're dressed in fancy clothes, you want a special pantyhose. Gentlemen prefer Hanes.
Major industries in High Point include bus manufacturing and furniture. In fact, the semi-annual High Point Furniture Market attracts 100,000 exhibitors and buyers from around the world. Functional furniture has been produced on a small scale since the 17th century by artisans of English ancestry who had settled in North Carolina. The furniture industry gained momentum in the late 19th century, and developers were attracted to High Point for its location, transportation, and cheap labor. High Point was shipping 8 fully loaded freight cars of furniture every day by 1898. By the turn of the century, High Point had become the leading furniture center in the South, with over 40 furniture companies in the city and surrounding areas. High Point became known as the furniture capital of the world in the 1980s. That was during the golden era of North Carolina furniture manufacturing. There's even a furniture walk of fame here. Today, the High Point Market is the largest home furnishings industry trade show in the world. Next time you need some furniture, you might want to visit High Point. See what I did there? Famous folks from High Point include the great saxophonist John Coltrane and singer and actress Fantasia Barrino, who first gained stardom on American Idol. But enough about saxophones, girdles, and dresser drawers. We've got a trail to ride. It's the High Point Greenway. Let's go and check it out.
Am I ever gonna get there? Am I ever gonna get there? Am I ever gonna get there? I guess we'll see. Am I ever gonna get there? Am I ever gonna get there? Am I ever gonna get there? I guess we'll see. 'Cause I'm trying to find my place. And I heard a man once say, son, you gotta run your own race. Don't you ever stop. No, don't you ever stop. Am I ever gonna get there? I don't know if I will get there. No. Will I ever see the sun there? I guess we'll see. 'Cause I'm doing all I can, finding my goals and shaking hands, searching ways to try and make amends. And I ain't ever gonna stop. No, I ain't ever gonna stop. And I'm leaning on your grace. Yeah, I'm stepping out in faith. Found the strength to keep running every day. And I ain't ever gonna stop. No, I ain't ever gonna stop. Am I ever gonna get there? Am I ever gonna get there? Am I ever gonna get there? I guess we'll see. 'Cause I'm trying to find my pace. And I heard a man once say, son, you gotta run your own race. And don't you ever stop. Don't you ever stop.
If you're gaining any value from this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. Also, leave a comment down below and share the video with friends and family and innocent bystanders. Trust me, random strangers love getting links to videos from people they don't know. Stick around for a quick installment of responding to comments, my brush with a pioneer Muffler Man statue, and our exclusive Joyful Trails star rating at the end of the video. But first, now about this greenway. It's 10 miles out and back, And you can either start at Armstrong Park on the southwest end, or do what I did and start at the Piedmont Environmental Center on the northeast end. There's restrooms, free parking, etc., etc. By the way, there's a lending library at Armstrong Park, and I saw what I thought was a woman robbing and looting the lending library. I was just about to call the cops when I realized that she and her shady accomplice were actually restocking it. So, this was kind of a rare moment. You don't often get to see a lending library being replenished in broad daylight. The High Point Greenway gets points for maps and signage, including trail rules, warning signs, and signs for people who like to learn things. Make sure you have water on your bike because, well, if you know, you know. Be on the lookout for critters. I saw a whole family of deer, but I didn't get them on video because they were skittish and just too quick for me. I did, however, get a shot of these turtles sunbathing on a log. No sunscreen necessary. There are several road crossings along the way. As always, look both ways before you cross the street, just like your mama taught you. I would divide this greenway up into 3 broad sections. There's the woodsy, foresty part of the trail with awesome boardwalks. As boardwalk experiences go, this one ranks right up there near the top. There's also a more, let's just keep it real, a more ugly, utilitarian, sort of bleh part that goes by an old school and past people's backyards, sometimes with trash visible from the trail. This part is not scenic at all, but it's necessary to link the boardwalk part with the HPU part. HPU stands for High Point University, and this trail travels right through the campus. Utilizing tunnels and showing off the pristine beauty of the school's campus. Now, there was reportedly a kerfuffle not long ago between High Point University and the good townspeople of High Point. The school wanted to reroute the greenway off of and away from the campus. This meant that the greenway would have been rerouted along city streets that just were not shady and pretty, and perhaps even unsafe. So townsfolk showed up at town halls and city council meetings with torches and pitchforks and said not no, but heck no. And what do you know? The school relented. HPU has dropped its relocation of the Greenway project, at least for now. Who says you can't fight big academia? While exploring this greenway, I met a gregarious gentleman named Gary. He was out for a walk with his puppies, and we had a nice conversation. In fact, several of the people that I spoke to on this greenway were quite friendly. Great ambassadors for their city and trail. But yeah, shout out to Gary. You know, you tend to meet the nicest people on bike trails.
Responding to comments.
So in a recent video on North Atlanta's Big Creek Greenway, I sort of complained a little bit about how many times I had to say on your left. On your left, On your left, on your left, on your left, on your left. Well, several of you guys had the same suggestion. A bike bell is better than on your left. You know, if you buy a nice bell, you can save yourself an awful lot of on your left. Might want to get a bell. And that was just a smattering. There were more. Here's the thing. I usually say on your left instead of ringing the bell because I have kind of a wimpy sounding bell. You know, it's like ding, 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 ding. I don't know. It just makes me feel like I'm a little kid or something. Maybe I should get a bullhorn. What about a megaphone? I could say into a megaphone, on your left. A bullhorn. That would be the ticket. Another thing I've noticed, at least for me, is if I say on your left, people take it better. If I ring the bell, they're a little more jumpy, you know, and they look back like, what? What's going on? You know, what do you do? Do you say on your left or do you ring your bell? Feel free to tell me in the comments below. Finally, at Mark Hester 6377, he says, your videos are kind of like if Louis Grizzard rode a bike.
But the world has changed dramatically, and I don't understand any of it. The music really is incredible. I don't know if you've ever watched MTV. What I do sometimes, I love Mexican food, and I'll go and eat too much and be sick to my stomach and kind of need to regurgitate, and I will go watch MTV for 15 minutes, and out it comes. You know?
I like that.
This has been Responding to Comments.
There's a lot of swampiness along this greenway. Wetlands aplenty. That's not unusual, by the way. Public greenways are often located in low-lying, flood-prone areas because, well, you can't build a house or an office building there. So they often put parks and trails there. Flash floods will happen now and then, but usually the water quickly recedes and all is well. This greenway travels alongside and crosses over a stream called Boulding Branch. It's just a quiet little creek. By the way, there is kind of a bonus spur of this trail that takes you over the High Point City Lake. You can access this from the Piedmont Environmental Center, and it's not to be missed. So cool that they went to the trouble to construct this bike and pedestrian bridge across the lake. So, what do we think about this trail? Why should you ride the High Point Greenway? Boardwalks. Boardwalks, boardwalks, boardwalks. That's worth 1 star. And the university campus is very nice, very clean, very pretty. That's 2 stars. And the people were friendly. 3 stars for the HPG in High Point, NC. I will leave you this time with a kitschy roadside attraction that I noticed along I-85 on my way home, and I just had to get a closer look. How about this big guy, huh? Big Beluga?